How to get a business loan with better terms and rates up to 5 million plus EIDL updates, PPP, employee retention tax credit, grants, as well as how to get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, literally, and up to 150,000 plus in funding and a lot more. Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm going to jump right into things. Now, a lot of people have this concern, and I'll jump into the share screen to show you some avenues, some roadmaps you can take and do this strategically so you can increase your terms, drop your rates, get more funding over time, even if you are already in a good place, what you can do thereafter. Because the question I get a lot of the time is, hey, what's happening? Why am I getting the best rates? Why am I getting the best terms? Why didn't I get 80,000 when I thought I should have? Instead, I got 20,000 or I got 40,000 to begin with. Hi, Julio. How are you doing? Yeah, I've received your messages, so I will get back to you. It's unfortunate of what's been happening, but let me ask you, how are you doing in these times? And so a lot of people come to me and they go, well, hey, I want 2 years, 3 years. I want 5% interest, and then I want 300,000 in one take. And so I get you don't get it. That's what I'm here for. Now, if you've been watching my content for some time, you would know this. And if you haven't, I'm an expert business loan broker who's been able to help a lot of businesses during these times get the right type of financing with the best lender or lenders, and understand that you shouldn't just go spray and pray everywhere. If you're that individual, I won't speak upon it too much right now. I just released content on this. Do not just go and apply everywhere. Period. The reasoning behind that is you think you're going to get something better. You are shopping for the lowest price. You're thinking, hey, well, I went through this guy here. I'm going to just not contact them back. And then in that time, I'm going to go and apply for anywhere and everywhere. Julio, I have to ask, what do you mean wash hands? My hands are dirty? But what that does, it enables all of these credit card companies like TransUnion, Experian. What they end up doing, if you're not careful, they will just send your information out to anybody. There will be buyers out there. For the highest buyer, they'll take your information, they'll call you and act as if you had applied with me or someone else. They'll say, hi, this is you remember your application, and they sound that way to make it sound attractive. Yeah, sorry to hear everything that's happening there. I've looked into it, and I pray for you guys. Literally, I did, and hopefully everything is going well and it turns out well. I'll jump into that second part here in a moment, but I said this the other day. It's not certain if I'll touch on the EIDL loan in a moment, but it's not very much of a certainty right now. So don't apply anywhere and everywhere. Even if you're applying with what you think is the best lender, or you heard this from this person, you don't know exactly what you're getting involved with. You don't know the process. You don't actually understand the underwriting. So what are you doing when you get a result from them and you go, well, I wasn't happy there, but you spoke with me and I showed you why you got what you got. I showed you why you shouldn't even have gone over there to begin with. We had already looked at you for a better lender. We had already looked at you with that lender included, but that didn't work. This was actually the best thing to do. We protected your privacy. We're not just shooting your information anywhere and everywhere. You're still dragging your feet, not understanding perhaps maybe your financials. And that's another part of this puzzle that I won't jump into in this video, but I'll try to link you more content down below I've created on SBA funding, merchant cash advances, lines of credit, unsecured term loans. I've even done comparison and contrast with EIDL versus and then those other products. So make sure you watch those. If they're not there right this second, after this video is uploaded, I will put in the description. Now, how do you get better terms and rates before I jump into the share screen? If anybody knows the answer to that question, please put it in the comments. Now, this is going to be some tough love. This will be for you guys to really understand, and I'm seeing comments coming in. Okay. And sometimes you have to understand my point of view when I see comments like that. When people are saying I recommend, you have to be careful because when this video is posted or if it's happening right now, there'll be people in the comments who post things that are like scammy. So I don't associate with them. Be careful. Oh, no worries. I was looking at them like, I mean, I know I just took some trash out, but but what you have to be careful about is who you're going into, but the terms and the rates are a predicament of your funding details. What do you have in monthly revenue and average monthly revenue and gross sales within the last 6 months? Your lowest average monthly or your lowest month in the last 3 months. We can base that number off what you can get. What are your average daily bank balances? How many non-sufficient funds, if any, NSFs, negative days, chargebacks, bounce checks, and we can go even deeper into the subject. You're withdrawing more than what is being deposited. How many deposits are you making per month? You're only making a limited amount, but you're doing 50 to 60,000 in revenue per month, but you're only depositing 1 to 3 times per month. You know how bad that looks? What if something happens? One of those deposits goes down. You have not even started with funding. You're asking for more. You're over leveraging. You have to start somewhere. That's going to be the premise of this video once I jump into the share screen in just a second. But you have to start somewhere is the point of this video. You have to get your feet in the water before you're swimming, before you get into the deep end, before you jump into the river, before you jump into the ocean. It's not a 30-year home mortgage, not insurance. This is the reality. You're putting your business in front of your personal life. Your business is going to speak volumes on what you're generating in annual gross revenue / sales. If it's profitable, how much? How many years? Is it recently? What's the margin? If we need to know that. What are your year-to-date financials? So again, be careful of those commenters right now. And to get better terms, to get better rates, so we're not wasting our energy and time going back and forth, objection after objection. You're crying and whining over a few 10, 20,000, and it may be a little bit when it comes time to saying, hey, I needed this all at once. It makes sense. But what a lot of people can get themselves into is, hey, let me start off with what I can get because I know I'm chewing more than I should. And then secondly, that just doesn't work right now. At this time, I will not get approved for more financing. So what I got to do is I'm going to start off with this initial 30,000, 100,000, whatever it is. Be in good standing halfway through, pay off 50% of the principal or the payments. Excuse me. Even before that, add-on funds are available, early payment discounts, no prepayment penalty in a lot of cases, depends on the type of service. Then what you do is you get more. And then what happens when you unlock it? It's like you're unlocking another level. Have you ever played a video game where hey, I got to the second level of Mario. Now I'm on the third level. Now on the third level, now that's where like, oh my goodness. Now I am a more of an attractive client to an SBA lender, or now I'm able to look at getting this type of financing and getting more better terms. Maybe you're on a daily, weekly. Now you're on a monthly repayment, or you started monthly because you have the accessibility. But when you don't cry, don't complain. This is a time for you to sit down and go, hey, will this money really benefit me? Is it going to exceed the repayments? Yeah, it does. Well, then I'm going to put $1 in, get $3 out. Or I'm going to profit. I'm going to go up in gross profit by 10, 15%. I really wanted to be at 30%. I really needed more. But you're not in a position to. If we could combine multiple services, which I'll come out with content like that if it hasn't already been released. I've already produced a video on it. How do you get funding with multiple services? So let me jump into the share screen here, show you more than tell you. And by the way, if I hadn't said this in the beginning, if you're watching here on the live, please give me a hashtag live, or on the replay, hashtag replay. I won't spend too much time on this. Now, how to get a business loan with better terms and rates, plus 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, and up to $150,000. This is all open and on the table. I don't know how is it that a lot of people, especially who are startups, still asking me after I've shown them everything, you're just putting up too much energy and time into this, that you're asking question after question that has already been answered. Maybe you just need some clarity and it's okay. But at a point, I only have so much energy and time in the day. So I don't know how punctual of a person you are. I am. But if it's time to move on, it's time. Now, over here, how do you get better rates? Or let's start with better terms, right? Because everybody wants the 2 to 3 years. I want no little interest, and I just don't want something that's going to be 3 to 8 months. I don't want something that's just going to be 1 to 2 years in a lot of cases. But you have to understand the type of financing or the type of funding application. In other words, what are you getting funds for? Is my question. So I'm raising my tone of voice, not in an aggressive way, not in a negative way, but for you to get this point across that better terms comes with these parameters. What are you applying the funds for? Well, what does that necessarily mean in terms of the time you need? Actually, we cannot. That does not make sense to approve you for 3 years, let alone other things we're looking at are things like credit, time in business, industry is a huge one. And I'm going to put that in exclamation point. Your market is a big determining factor in what and how much you can get approved for. I have a lot of business owners, especially, I'm not going to single out one industry because there are many, but I see this right now a ton in the trucking industry. Like trucking, oh my, like you're running into things where I have a lot of clients right now who are probably doing 50, 60, 70,000 per month on their lowest month. So they're generating well over 300, 400, 500,000 a month. Let's just say that. However, trucking is so high risk. How much time do you have in business? How many do you have on your fleet? How many trucks? What do you have operating? What are you cash flowing? What are your average daily bank balances? You haven't taken out a loan in the past. Oh, you have minimal time in business. You're only in the 2-year mark. You wanted an SBA loan, even if you have great credit. There's more to this equation than just seeing it from the front. It's not always going to be that clear. And there are more specific things, not only the industry, but there are a lot more. We can even look deeper into the cash flow. We can see any kind of reserves, if any. What would you have at the remaining end of the month, week, day, average daily sales? A lot of things go into factoring what kind of terms you get. But at a big component of it, it is credit. Credit can play a factor. And I see this a lot with business owners who are probably generating 6 figures, 50,000 and above. Perhaps you're doing below 50K, but your credit, what? You're at a 560, you're doing 100,000, and you're unappreciated from what you're getting. Maybe you are appreciative of it. And we've spoken about how do you take this approach to where you start off with what you can get, and then guess what? You just finished my sentence. You move up. This is the reality. And so over here, you're probably getting, because of your credit, you're probably only going to get 4 to 6 months. At the most 6 months, because you have proven cash flow. If we don't see you have proven cash flow, how do we decide for giving you those at least 6 months? Now, if you have over 600 in a lot of cases, 2+ years in business, or generally like 6+ months in some cases, then we could look at perhaps getting you 7 to 11 months with 25,000 in monthly deposits or so. And there's difference within every single different lender. So it's not gimme, gimme, gimme. It's, hey, where do I start? What do I need? I just had an amazing conversation. I'm going to just give him a shout out right now. I'm going to say his name. I normally don't say it publicly, but Tony, if you're watching this now or will in the future, appreciate you. I've built a good personal and business relationship with him. He was open with me today. We chatted up on a phone call. I just give him a courtesy call, send him a text. He's busy. Email, he's busy. I never assume that you're just rejecting something. A lot of people do, but I'm not always assuming that. And so I gave him a courtesy call and I said, I really don't want to call. I'm not that person. I'm more of a text, email. I'm an introvert. I know my stuff, but I'd rather do it this way. And he was appreciative of that. And we got into a great call. And he said the reality of how we think, how business owners think, and how we're not here to waste energy and time, and just a great amount of information on how much of a warrior he actually is. And I really absorbed every part of that conversation we had, and I took it to heart. I literally like engraved it. If I don't tattoo, but if I had an engravement on my heart, like Tony, literally you'd be in there, man, because it shows the caliber in your background, and it shows, and he's not the only one. There's a lot of you out there that I've spoken with, and then there's a lot of you guys who just, hi, who is this? Where are you? What do you want? And it's like, you've already closed-minded yourself. I can't do any more. I can, but I'm not willing to work with somebody that's closed-minded like that. You do what you may with the information. Was I energy and time efficient? That's what I'm always asking myself. And if it wasn't worth it, well, just be careful if you go and apply here, because they won't always give you the information. You might come to across a scam. Somebody will be calling you trying to get you into a loan that doesn't even exist. They're going to always sell your information somewhere else. You're going to be wondering, oh, I should have just paid attention to that Michael guy. And now you're scratching your butt. You're picking your nose. You're even scratching yourself here because of the anxiousness and because of the nervousness you have. I know that. And there's a lot more. And again, this is tough love. This isn't aggressiveness. If you take it that way, this isn't for you. Now, if you don't want somebody who's going to be straight with you, who's going to be very specific with you, then this isn't for you. Now, if you want somebody who will take care of you personally and in business and be very nice, I give people a lot of the benefit of the doubt. That's who I am. And don't mistake that kindness for weakness. I can sense your voice. I can sense something. And I know if there's energy and time being zapped from something where it's been made very, very clear, but you're still not understanding, or you're just trying to do things your way that are very ineffective. There's a reason why I have the best partners, the best, and that I mean the best lenders, the best underwriters, as well as my team that I communicate with every day. If I could work something out better for you, don't you think I would have? But let's come back to this document. Hi, Mary. How are you doing? Like, let me come back here and kind of go over the rates a bit. But you have to start somewhere. How are you going to get upset with the credit you have and say, I want longer terms because I have longer time in business, because I have more revenue, and because of my industry and what I'm doing in about 3 months? Yeah, projection value is a part of it, but come on. You can't even make your payments. You're not paying them on time, perhaps, if you're already at this low. You're taking too much. You're having to make these payments. You're making them little by little, so it's not going to increase your point by that much. Or it will, but we want to see it even better at that point, or it maybe it doesn't even make that significant of a difference, even if when you're already high enough. Now, when you're this low, then you can justify that. Now, over here, there's a lot more reasons, not just these, but we can get even more minute and go into a micro, not so much of a macro level. Now, when we're talking about rates, what determines your rates? Similar, FICO, time in business. So it's a correlating factor amongst the board. Time in business, NSFs, and or negative days, bounced checks, chargebacks. You can say that. You can say overdraft. You can go into everything here. We can go into it even in a deeper level. Your industry, average daily bank balances. There's a lot more. I have it in another document, but I won't go into that one now. Just know that these are some of the many, that go into determining your rates. And we can also say revenue, of course. And there's quite a bit more there. So we'll just leave it at that list. And let me move this over. If you're that individual who keeps complaining about looking for something that doesn't exist, if you're that individual, this is probably even the worst. I'd rather you not do this with me. Like, when I get people who I don't necessarily want to work with this. Like, when people go, hey, I'll send you the documentation, or hey, I'll call you back in about this time, and you don't stick to it, what does that say about you? I mean, I get you're busy. Probably something's come up. You got to take more responsibility. I get that. But what if a day? What if 2 days, 3 days, and I have to be the one that takes initiative when you were supposed to be the one? How can I trust you? You're asking if you can trust me, but my standards are up here. I could sense your standards are not there on a personal level. I'm not saying perhaps business. Maybe there's parts of it. But I'm asking myself of you, how can I trust you? Always think that when you're speaking with me, I'm always asking that of you. You can ask it of me. You can ask me all the hard questions if you want. I don't mind. I will answer them. I know what's happening. But when you're fighting tooth and nail, how do I get a business loan where I get 3, 4, 5 years to begin with, where I can get over 200,000 and I want rates of 10% or less? Okay, maybe you are the type who can qualify for that easily. And I have a lot of people every day who do. But if you're not, well, okay, what are my options? What can I start with? I prefer to have a weekly or a monthly repayment as opposed to this daily. Well, we can see if we can work that out. Did you freeze? Did you unlock your credit so we can look at it, perhaps get you a weekly, or you didn't even qualify even with that? You have to start off daily and move into a weekly repayment, and then from weekly to monthly or daily to monthly, weekly to monthly, if monthly makes sense to you, unless you're going to take a huge payment at the end of the month that it's going to fluctuate. You're paying an additional 10 to 20,000 on top of your credit cards. You have 20,000 in credit card payments you got to make. Now you want an extra 10,000 on unsecured financing we should give you. Even if it were secured financing where it keeps your terms longer and it drops your repayments probably by half or even more, like SBA loans and other ones. But do you qualify? Like I speak to a lot of business owners. I even had a double check today. I didn't have to with a monthly lender of mine because I already knew the answer to this. But I went ahead and checked with them. Hey, especially with one industry, there's plenty of them, but one of them being trucking. Now, if you don't have 5+ years in business, you're not generating a specific amount of revenue, even at a minimal, if you can get in with 25K, perhaps they would like to see you do more, 50K, closer to 100K. To even get looked at a monthly lender, unsecured financing, 5 years plus. How much do you have on your fleet? Well, what are you doing cash flow wise? This happened here. Well, we can't just give you that. Just saying based off of what you think will happen. When we can see cash happening into something else, there's a pattern. So you have to start off somewhere. I'm not the victim. You can say I'm the messenger, but I'm the broker. The outcome from all of this is I pre-underwrite files. I look at the bank statements. I look at the tax returns. They're pre-underwritten before they go into the underwriting because I have a ballpark. I know what will happen. So you always get an answer from me. I know this because I've dealt with every industry pretty much. And I see it come in and out. SBA loans, how do those work? What do you do with the business acquisition? What do you do with the franchise? Why shouldn't you go to a bank? Because they're not opportune to do these kind of things. They're not structured to do that. They don't have the speed for one. They don't have the way that they can jump back and recover and get you what you need. They don't understand you and your niche specifically. Why do you think there's private lending? That's one of the reasons. So we pretty much covered how do you get a business loan with better rates and better terms and the most amount of funding. And there are levels. You can say, I got to start here and then I got to go up here. When I pay off some of this, then I can move and get more add-on funds are available, increase the amount, drop the rates, increase the terms. Now you have a better strategic partnership from there. Then we can look at probably if you feel more comfortable getting into a monthly repayment if you're not in there yet. And then from there, where do we go? Maybe an SBA Express loan. You're proven. You couldn't do it 2 years ago, but now you're 1 to 2 years in. Guess what? Your revenue increased from the money you took here. So you were doing 50,000. Now you're at 80,000. Whoa, Michael. Like it's common sense. This isn't rocket science. And I studied chemistry. I studied calculus. I studied the hard classes in college, in university. This isn't that. But because I like to work with numbers. So what you have to get out of this video when you leave here today is stop fighting for something that doesn't exist. Stop creating friction where it shouldn't be for you and I. See, every day I wake up and I ask, how can I do something with the least amount I can say the most amount of resistance, because if you create more resistance in something, you're putting more pressure on you, and I can work harder under pressure. I work better. And at the same time, it's creating a better character, as well as it's helping me create better outcomes for those goals. So you learn more from yourself when you have more resistance. Now, in a different manner, I asked myself, how can I create less resistance, less friction, and go through this as fast or when it is needed to get done? I'm always asking myself, from my businesses as well as in my personal life, when I'm leaving here, like when I have my room, how do I go from here to here? How do I move from here to here? What time do I need to do this? I can't do this after this. Da 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 da. So what I see a lot in this industry is a lot of resistance. Friction, more objections, which is fine. But if we had already gone over this in the beginning, which we do usually, this wouldn't be here happening. Now, I get it. Sometimes it's not always given, or not everything is always said. For the most part, it is with me. So we're revisiting, or we're coming back to this part. So when you work with me, just know that you are getting the best. You're in the best hands. And if it takes 3-4 times for me to regurgitate this content to you, I will, because it's my obligation to. And if you don't like this, then you shouldn't even be on my email list. You shouldn't even be watching these videos. If you think it's just as cookie cutter as, Michael, I want to get on a call with you, without doing A, B, C first, or A, or hey, Michael, I didn't believe what you said. Well, don't believe what I said. Go do what you want to do, Sally. Go, Harry. Do what you want. Go, Jimmy, or whoever it is. But I won't neglect you if you decided you come back, because it isn't about money to me. It's about the value that you're learning. This is a learning experience. And if you have to go out there and find the information for you to then come back, if I ask you, like we spoke today with a certain individual, man, this guy's awesome. I love him, man. Like, he is like regarded up there. And I told him, I said it, you are one of the most fluid, put together people that I've spoken to in a little bit of time. And it's because they care about the other person on the other side. It's ultimately what it is. What it comes down to is that they care here. They're not looking at it in for themselves. Yeah, their business matters and all these components. However, they're putting themselves in my shoes as much as I'm putting it in theirs. But when people come to me and they go, man, Michael, your shoe size doesn't fit for me. Well, did you at least try to put it in? So don't come to me with that like aggressiveness, or don't come to me, because I don't do that. I won't deal with it either. I will cut it short and get going, because there's only so much energy and time. Now, if you're fighting, stop applying there. We had already looked at you there. I told you all this already. Like, hey, what are you doing? That's not going to work. They're just going to spread your information out everywhere into the web, dark web. Examples. And so what do you do when you are wondering, what will be my next move? How do I go up in my rate, or drop my rates, increase my terms, get most amount possible? Well, you start somewhere. If you had an SBA loan to begin with, okay, fine. You're at the cream of the top, creme brulee, if you want to call it that. You're already there. So what you got to do is you got to understand the parameters with real estate, without real estate, no collateral, cash flow, liquidity, equity. Okay, what industry are you in? What can you be capable of actually getting and receiving? What do you have to do before you get to an SBA loan? Well, probably you're doing secured financing in a different sense. Maybe it's unsecured financing. You're in a term loan. Perhaps it's a cash advance, a hybrid cash advance, a traditional cash advance, a line of credit, equipment financing, a personal loan, startup loan. Should I go more? I can do this all day, but I won't. I know my stuff. Test me if you want. I don't mind. Ask me. But at the end of the day, what's going to matter most is the benefit. You take this funding and you apply that 30 to 40,000 you needed right now. Yeah, it won't get you 20 to 30% right away, because you wanted more funding to work with, because it's going to be applied to this. It's totally understandable. But what is it said? We all have to start somewhere. So that's what I want you guys to take away from this video. I could go even deeper into how to get better terms and rates. Depending on every single service, I can break it down. And I can go even deeper into the qualifications and what they're exactly like a lot more looking for. But as mentioned, are you having to start here? Well, how about we do this? Like I spoke with an individual today. You don't see this, but I do. You don't need a line of credit now. You're saying you won't need to use it. But the thing is, you should be looking for financing when you don't even need it a lot of the times. So a line of credit enables you, if you have it just sitting there, it's not going to like hurt you. It's not like a lump sum where you're expected to pay it back in this allotted amount of time. At least when you have that, you have reserves. And then secondly, you get probably more funding with the two together or more. And then you can use that whenever you need to. You're paying this one off. So your concern is, why am I getting a medium to higher rate? Because I hear that every single day. I won't. You think I'm gonna like send you to something that doesn't make sense because of my benefit? Hell no. F no. Those of you who've been with me know that. Why the hell would I ever send you to a 40 to 50% cash advance if you could qualify for something else, perhaps unsecured that may be the same, but it's restructured a little bit different, probably with lower rates? Or if you had to find secured financing, cash out refinance, and you want to do this, why the heck would I ever do that to you? I want you guys to answer that up here. You don't have to say it in a comment. I'm working hard over here. And if you're battling, like, I have to put you in my peripherals. I'm not going to be sorry about it. Honestly, why should I be? You're the one going da 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 da, and we have already summed it up. We cleared it up. But then da 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 da. It's like a broken record. And it hurts me to say that, but this is tough love for you. A lot of people in the beginning, they were thinking, well, what are you doing, Michael? Why are you giving us this attitude? I'm not giving you an attitude. I'm giving you the truth. Wouldn't you rather have heard this than not? So I'm going to leave it open for a couple of minutes if anybody has any questions, and then I will get going. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to, comment to individuals who had appointments with me today. So I'll be, if you had one, I wasn't able to get to you. I had quite a bit of things, and I couldn't get right back to my emails. I couldn't multitask that. So I apologize if I wasn't able to. And it happens, like I said in another video, I think I released it today, where I spoke about how I'm not always able to get there on time. So it's not an excuse I'm making. It's just what happens from time to time. And I don't do it on purpose. Some things always come up, business and in personal, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. But if you're that individual who I have, and you're just like kicking tires, at this point, you're burning rubber. You're like burning the tread on your vehicle so badly. Now you have sparks coming out of your car, and you're just trying to put me along in it. Like, I'm not having it. You think I am, but I'm not. Like, at this point, you have everything you need. Now you're just, what if this? What if that? We already covered this. What ifs? Like, you're just fearful. That's what it is. It comes back to fear. And that fear usually comes from how we were programmed to think. We think because we see home mortgages, we think because we see it this way, that it'll be like that. Because we see other people getting this, we think we should be getting that as well. Yeah, but you're not that other person. Is that other person running your business? You're the one in charge. You think when I got started, I was going to get $5,000 deposited into my business checking account? Because I have 1 year in business. I have a 780 FICO, and it doesn't work that way. It's not funny. It's not even, it's a not funny, but have you ever had one of those where it's not funny, but it's laughable at the same time? Like, I take it serious, but it's just laughable a lot of the times. That's what happens. And so if you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. If you're not, don't do it. Or don't even tell me if you're going to do this at this time. I'd rather you not, and you don't follow through. Because if you're not punctual, you don't have to be like I am. But if you're not punctual to even just stick to your damn word, holy smokes. Who am I working with? Who am I talking to? That shows a lot of you. That shows a lot of your character, and it can translate into your business. So I'd rather work with somebody who's going to tell me no and not beat around the bush and say, yeah, I'll call you in a day. How about we just, I don't need that. I'm not being rude. I just don't need that. You don't, do you? Do you want to get that from your employees? Do you want to get that from a customer? Do you want to get that from anyone else? No, so don't treat anybody the way you don't want to be treated. So I'm going to wrap it up now. You got to see everything here. You hopefully got the value that you need to understand how to get better rates and better terms if you didn't start with them or if you did, and then what you do to get to that point over time. There's different services that are going to ask you for different requirements, but we all start somewhere, don't we? When you look back on this day, just imagine this in about maybe just a short term, we'll say probably 4 to 6, maybe in a year's plus worth. You look back on it and you go, oh my, I took that 20,000 that I didn't really want to start with. I had to understand my financials a little bit better. And then I paid it off completely. I didn't even wait until 50%. I didn't wait until half of that term. I got more funding. And then after that funding, I was able to move up more levels. And then I finally got a better amount of terms. I got better rates. I got better repayment structures, different services. And if I wouldn't have started right there, I would have never got to here. And if I would have never began here, I would be in the position I am right now, thinking about how do I do this? And you would have wasted a year, 3, 4, 5, 6 months thinking that, hey, this Michael guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, if you want to do that, go right away. Go right ahead and try to do things your own and see what happens. Trigger leads, and then there's a few other ways that people gather your information, so be careful. They're sold to the highest buyer. I'm creating content on that here soon. I may do a video review, but I have blog post reviews on this. Be careful about who you share your information with. Not everybody is who they say they are. Every day I get that. Guys lately, just in a few girls lately, were given offers of about $800K in a line of credit where they weren't even supposed to ever get that. It's even more scary because they had already applied with me, but they wanted to hold off for higher revenue months. And I'm like, no. And you don't even know who they are because the credit bureaus, they sold your information. There's people out there, lenders, organizations, brokers, etc., who are gathering this information and pretending to be somebody you applied to already in the past. Perhaps it's through me, but I'm not doing that. Our information is safe and secure. And even it happens to the best of the lenders out there in some cases. You can't always control that, but you can to a huge degree. So in times it'll be like that where your information is dispersed because the credit bureaus are selling that information. And it's just an unethical way business and people do things, and it's terrible. But just be aware that in the time of our application and our underwriting, you're not looking at that because you have to be very careful about it. And you're just not shopping around for the lowest price because, like I said, I deal with the best lenders. If we looked at you for On Deck, we looked at you here directly or indirectly, we looked at you there, There's a reason why this company works best. Even if On Deck came in and I go, well, no, it's best for me to help you with this if we went indirectly or directly. And I already have those partnerships where we protect your information. So this company A is only going to give you 40,000, but company B, we're going to give you double that. We're going to give you 80,000, similar rates and terms, perhaps a little bit different, probably a little bit, maybe a little bit better, more or less. But because you went to lender A, who you thought was going to be in your best interest, guess what? Now you're coming back to me having to ask these questions. And I'm more than happy to answer them for you, but just don't waste energy and time. That's it. So I'm going to leave you with that questionnaire form. If you guys want to get in touch, if this is your first time, down below, you can get a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options, very thoroughly broken down from top to bottom. Intro to different services, qualifications, how they work, numbers, ballpark ranges if need be, to bonus tips, bonus material, conclusion on what I would do, strategic partnership and roadmap on how to follow through. Get in touch. Fill it out down below. A lot of people want to call me. They want to get on a call, but I don't even have information to go off of. It's better that I do that. Otherwise, I'd be spending a phone call with everybody every single day, which we know that for a fact. I cannot be doing that. It's not the best way of using my time and energy. I have projects to finish. I have things to get done. And if you want to work with the best, this is the way you do things moving forward. And these are the processes that are set in place for at least now. And there are cases where a phone call from the beginning is going to make the most sense, but not in all cases. So that's everything from me. Appreciate you all. Look for all other content down below: the questionnaire, the EIDL loan, the EIDL loan alternatives. Oh, yeah, I already spoke on EIDL, so not a lot happening there. Repayments coming up. I already released video content on that. Deferment, a bit difficult. You can find out more information down below, though. PPP, fraudulent activity, as well as EIDL loans, but not a lot there. Forgiveness, another component to it. Student loan forgivenesses, I won't get into that, but that's a subject. Then you have the employee retention tax credit if you're looking to get funding for a payroll tax credit purposes. I mean, you don't have to pay this back, and a lot of people are jumping on it like that. They are not wasting their time because they're smart. They're not going to be here fishing and trying to figure out how can I get the lowest price on this, on the fulfillment of this, and there's a reason why it's done this way. Now, if you approached it from that point of view and you ask me, Michael, why are they charging me this much? Thank you for being open. Let me answer that question for you. But that's happening. Grant opportunities, I'll leave more of them down below. A few of them have come up lately. A lot of people are asking me about grants, startup loans. I'll have more content for you down below in the description. But fill out the questionnaire if you haven't. Email down below. Questions, comments, or concerns, please voice them for me in the comment section. And if you haven't filled out that questionnaire form, that's where I would begin first and foremost. That's it for now. Talk soon. Bye.